Last time in Series Orange, Caeden Ford and Excaliber took the win against Takis Petridis and Tempest Steed. Will he be able to defend this championship? Find out now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're back once again for another round of Series Orange of the regular season. And this is also the qualifiers to dedicate and see which of these trucks will qualify and head and punch their tickets to Lusail, Qatar. We have a lot of great selection of trucks as well as some special schemes running today on this regular season of Series Orange. We got the bottom 4 trucks all the way at the end of the track right there. As you can see, right to your left, you can see the holographic Bad Company. This truck is waiting to be run in the Steel Titan Cup, but now it's going to test itself to run on the regular season. And also right here, we also see the runner-up as well as the champion of last round, also running a new scheme, which is an old school version of Excaliber right there, with the light bar on the top. That is going to be a really good truck to see on the track. As well, we got Crush Cycle. After some technical issues, they finally fixed the truck and they are ready to go. And we will take a look at the Series Orange standings. Here are your top 4 so far: Excaliber, Tempest Steed, Crush Cycle, and Hurricane Force. We also have the remaining number of spots for qualifiers. We have Batman, Flash, Monster Mud, Time Flies, Alien Invasion, and Axe. Let's take a look at the second half of the Series Orange standings, and we have Bad Company, who is holding on to the playoff spot in 11th place. Then we have Bakugan Dragonoid. Then we have Scarlet Bandit, Soldier Fortune Black Ops, Zombie Burnt, Calavera, Red Primer Gravedigger, Kingsling, and Raising King. Here's a look at the tournament bracket for this round. As you can see right here, a lot of familiar matches right here for this round, as well as some interesting ones like Tempest Steed and King Sling, which will be the very first match that we will have in this second round of qualifying. As well, we got Excaliber facing Calavera. These are going to be some interesting ones. And right here is a look at the track. A lot of free space for trucks to make their way down to the track, as well as some crush cars right at the center, so you want to be very careful at the distance that you are going to try to make. We also got an open finish line right there, a little bit slippery, but it will make some time for these trucks to drive on. As well, we got 2 crush cars right in between those center jumps as well. For the first match, we have Takis Petridis and Tempest Steed, who will face Dennis Holman. We are awaiting for the line to go down, and we are ready to go as they are down at the track, already getting some big distance, and you can see some big wreckage between the two. And King Sling will move on to the next round with an absolute shocker. Let's take a look at the replay from these two. As you can see, King Sling getting some good distance, but bumping into the to the dirt, causing him to run over and escape the carnage left by Tempest Steed. For the next race, we will have Patrick Gordon and Bad Company, who will face off Bethany Moss and Scarlet Bandit. And they are ready to go as they are down to the track. Once again, Bad Company in the lead, but he crashes over and Bethany Moss hits the wall, but regardless, she moves on to the next round. Not sure if there was some issues with Bad Company, but let's look again. Yeah, there were some issues with the truck, but Bethany herself made it to the next round. And we are getting ready for the next race. We have Bakugan Dragonoid driven by Camden Murphy and Gabriel Burns driving Flash. Flash has been invincible so far, but let's see how they perform on the track. And you can see the carnage left by these two, but Flash will move on to the next round. A really close finish. Let's see it again. As you can see right here, Flash and Bakugan Dragonoid neck and neck. And look at that nose wheelie by Flash. That is probably a distance record there. And for the final match of the first round, we have Jenna McCarty and Zombie facing Mike Lyons in the Red Primer Gravedigger. And they are down to the track once again. Mike Lyons in the lead, and Jenna McCarty loses control. And Mike Lyons will move on, defeating Jenna McCarty and Zombie. As we take a look at the replay, you can see Red Primer going way ahead. He hits the crush cars, but will move on to the next round. Jenna didn't make it farther as she expected. And let's take a look at the 4 trucks who have qualified for the next round. King Sling will face up against Batman, which will be a pretty good one to watch. Bethany Moss will face the burnt victim zombie. And we have Gabriel Burns facing Axe, and Red Primer Gravedigger will face Time Flies. For the next round, we have Mason Hawkins and Crush Cycle will face Chelsea Eugene and Hurricane Force. They were a semifinalist in the previous round, and let's see if that changes anything. They're down to the track once again. It seems like Chelsea loses control. She hits the wall, and Mason will make it past the carnage left by Chelsea. Let's see this again. As you can see from this race, Mason had an early lead, but then Chelsea came back, crashed into the wall, and there goes Mason, who moves on to the next round. And for the next race, we have Dennis Holman and Kingsling facing Logan Knight and Batman. Both of these trucks are ready to go. And they are down at the track, and you can see both of them neck and neck. It's going to be a second crash, and just like that, Batman is out, and Kingsling moves on. Let's take a look at the replay. As you can see from here, Batman and Kingsling neck and neck, but look at Batman. The way they crashed is just insane. For the next race, we have Lucas Schmidt in the Burnt Zombie Victim facing Bethany Moss in Scarlet Bandit. And they are ready to go as they are neck and neck. Bethany loses control, and she is holding on to the wall. But there goes Lucas Schmidt, who moves on to the next round. Let's take a look at the replay just to investigate what happened to Scarlet Bandit. You can see they hit the wall, and it looks like the axle came stuck. So they're going to have to check that out and see what's going on. Next race is John Ramirez and Raising Cane facing Cameron Barrett and Alien Invasion. And they're down to the track. Once again, they're neck and neck. Raising Cane loses control, and there goes Alien Invasion. And look at that save by Raising Cane. However, that will not win him the race and advance to the next round. Let's take a look at the replay. You can see Raising Cane with that freestyle save, though. But look at Alien Invasion. They passed through, and they will move on to the next round. For the next race, this will be a good one. Tony Oaks and Soldier Fortune Blackout's facing Chris Kohler and Monster Mutt. And they are down once again, both of these drivers. And it looks like Chris Kohler's in the lead, and look at that. He escapes the carnage left by Tony Oaks, and let's take a look what just happened with Tony Oaks' truck. You can see he hits the ramp. He does a save, but I think the axle came loose. They're going to have to fix that for the next round. And next race, we have Gabriel Burns and Flash facing Reed Schwartz and Axe. And they're down to the track. It looks like Gabriel Burns is in the lead, but look at Axe. Look at that comeback race. And let's take a look at that. You can see Gabriel in the lead, but then left loose as Axe came through and moves on. For the next race, we have Oliver Lee and Time Flies facing Mike Lyons in the Gravedigger Red Primer. And they are down once again, down to the track. You can see both of them, and it seems like they're going to synchronize the crash together, and Mike Lyons will move on to the next round, leaving Oliver Lee in the dust. Let's see this again. You can see the carnage left by both of them. Synchronized crashing is what I like to call it. But Mike Lyons will move on, and Oliver Lee is down. I believe this is the final race of the round. Maria Lopez and Calavera facing Caeden Ford and Excaliber, who was the winner last time, looking to defend their title. Look at that save by Caeden Ford. Almost losing, though. Maria Lopez looking pretty sharp out there, but it wasn't enough for her to overtake the defending champion. As you can see, Caeden Ford with a save. Caeden got really lucky intervening with Maria Lopez, and if it wasn't for that, he would have been eliminated early. And for this, we are moving on to the quarterfinals. You could see loads of new names as well as some veterans from the previous round moving on to the next round. As you can see here, Crush Cycle versus King Sling will be a good one. Then we have the Burn Zombie Victim and Alien Invasion Mossbred versus Axe, and the Gravedigger Red Primer facing Excaliber in the final race of the quarterfinals. For the first one, we have Mason Hawkins and Crush Cycle facing Dennis Holman and King Sling. Mason has done pretty well recently, and it looks to be like they're going to both crash together, and it seems like Mason will move on, defeating King Sling. And it seems like the fairy tale run for King Sling is going to end there as Mason does a perfect save, and he will move on to the next round, defeating him in the process. For the next race, we have Lucas Schmidt in the Burn Zombie Victim facing Cameron Barrett in Alien Invasion. Already down to the track they go. As you can see, both of them really close, but it's going to be a very close race. I'm not sure who's going to win this one, but we are going to the replay and investigate further. You can see Lucas Schmidt had the lead, but look at Alien Invasion with a comeback, and you can see the close finish. And here it is, and it will be Alien Invasion moving on to the semifinals, defeating Lucas Schmidt in the process. For the next race, we have Chris Kohler and Monstermutt facing Reed Schwartz and Axe. Axe has done pretty well recently. Let's see if they can continue that. If they defeat Monstermutt, you can see both of them neck and neck, and it's going to be a big crash for Axe. And there goes Monstermutt, who got shut off. Let's investigate further on what happened to Axe, though. It looked like it hurt. You can see Reed Schwartz struggling a little bit, and he hits the wall. I believe the axle didn't move. I'm pretty sure it got stuck. There goes Chris Kohler on the bottom, but here is a look again by the crash by Axe, and yeah, they're not going to be able to move on to the next round, so that win will go to Chris Kohler. And for the final race, we have Mike Lyons in the Red Primer Gravedigger facing Caeden Ford and Excaliber. And they are down to the track once again. They're really close. Mike Lyons looks like they're about to overtake him, but Caeden Ford will make the comeback and save themselves from the carnage left by Mike Lyons. Here's a look at the race again. Avoiding the crash is a good strategy if you want to win your race. Just look at the way that Caeden Ford did it. As you can see here, from the tournament bracket, the semifinals are set. Alien Invasion versus Crush Cycle will be an interesting one, as well as Monstermutt facing up against Excaliber. Crush Cycle is back in the semifinals. Will they be able to progress into the finals, or will the curse continue on? We're about to find out, as they will face off against Cameron Barrett in Alien Invasion. Mason Hawkins is on fire right now, but let's see if they can make any difference here, as they are neck and neck with each other with some perfect nose wheelies, and Alien Invasion will move on to the final round. And it seems like the curse will continue on for Mason Hawkins. Just look at that race by Cameron Barrett as he moves on to the final round. And for the finals, or the second semifinal match, we have Chris Kohler and Monstermutt facing Caeden Ford and Excaliber. And they are down once again, both of them neck and neck. And it seems it's going to be a very close race. Caeden Ford almost makes it, but look at Chris Kohler. He saves himself and will slowly cross the finish line, which means he has defeated the defending champion of round one. Here's a look at the race one more time. Just look at this. It was a tight battle. Caeden Ford almost got it, but then Chris Kohler got lucky and crashed almost close to the edge of the track, and he slowly crosses the line, which means that Caeden Ford will not be able to defend his title, which means we will have a new winner of Series Orange. Will it be Alien Invasion or Monstermutt? We're about to find out soon, as the trucks are ready and parked for this final race. Look at them side by side. This is a good view as from what I can see with this camera angle. Will it be Cameron Barrett in Alien Invasion, or will it be Chris Kohler in Monstermutt? Look at the custom paint that I've added to these trucks. It makes things a lot easier and makes things interesting for these diecasts. So, the question must be answered on which one of these drivers will win the second round of Series Orange. And we're about to find out, as these two drivers are heading down to the track. Chris Kohler in the lead so far. Cameron Barrett loses control, but Chris Kohler will win right before Cameron caught up to him. As you can see here, he hits the crush cars, and so did Cameron, but they crossed the finish line. And with this, Chris Kohler will win the second round of Series Orange, with Monstermutt in behind the wheel. As you can see here, Alien Invasion is parked to the side, and there is Monstermutt parked right on top of the crush car that helped him win the race. As you can see how decorative and custom painted this truck is. You can see the details as well. But we're going to take a look at the series standings right after round 2. As you can see here, Excaliber, despite the semifinal loss, they're still in the lead. And right behind them is Chris Kohler in Mossberg, who is gaining in second place. Crush Cycle and Alien Invasion remain in the top 4, so there's no change there. Hurricane Force drops down from 4th to 5th, Tempest Steed in 6th, Axe in 7th, Batman in 8th, Flash in 9th, and Time Flies in 10th. Now we move on to the other side. This time, the Burnt Zombie Victim is now in 11th place, and the Red Primer Gravedigger is in 12th place. Then we have King Sling in 13th, Scarlet Bandit in 14th, Soldier Fortune Black Ops in 15th, Bad Company is in 16th. For now, these trucks escape the relegation zone, but those remain in the relegation zone are Bakugan Dragonoid, Calavera, Raisin Cane, and Zombie. With this, we will conclude this episode, or this second round of Series Orange. This is also the very last time that we will see this track setup, as a new track is being constructed right now. And I will tell you one thing, this track is about to be insane and a lot bigger, so this means that the track will have more contests and more opportunities and a lot more crazy stunts, as well as some freestyle and wow moments that you will see here in the future of Monster Jam New Generation. With this, we will conclude this video here. This is Rainbow X, and we will see you on the flip side with the new track and new setup. Video about that coming very soon.